What's happening, guys? Jonathan Pariente, The Education 10 here, coming at you guys with another video. I want to ask you guys to please continue to check and subscribe to my channel for more YouTube videos. Well, NFL playoffs were 1 week down, and what a crazy week we had in the wild card game. Oh my goodness. First, we had Andrew Luck and the Colts go into Houston against Deshaun Watson and the Texans. Colts came in and took advantage early. Didn't look back. They came in and beat the Texans 21-7, and I'm telling you guys now, this Colts offense and defense is dangerous. If they don't possibly become a favorite to go all the way to the Super Bowl, I don't know what will. But this Colt team is for real. Andrew Luck is for real. And you're seeing how big a difference this Colts team is from what they were earlier in the year. Look out, guys. You don't want to play these Colts in the playoffs right now. They are hot and dangerous. Then we had the Cowboys and the Seahawks. Wow. Just about everything you could have loved in a football game. A close game. Some very important moments in this game. Janikowski ended up missing a field goal, got hurt. Seahawks had to play the rest of the game without a kicker. And then when it came down to the latter end of the game, the Cowboys recovered the onside kick and won. Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott stepped up in huge moments of the game. Ezekiel Elliott ran for 137 yards and a touchdown. Dak Prescott converted on a huge 3rd and 14 in the final minutes of the game, and the Cowboys went on to score a touchdown. Very gruesome injury also happened in the game. Allen Hurns literally broke his leg, and literally they had to turn away. They couldn't even show it. It was a very gruesome injury. Basically, he broke his leg in half. They only showed the replay one time, and that was enough to, just tell you how devastating that injury was. Cowboys, though, held on to win. They won 24-22. Nearly got my score prediction correct by just off 1 point. Cowboys will move on to play the Rams in the divisional playoff. The Colts will move on to play the Chiefs in the AFC playoff game. Then we go to yesterday's games. On Sunday, the Ravens took on the Chargers in Baltimore. Chargers did about everything you could have imagined, and the Chargers found a way to beat Lamar Jackson and the Ravens following an earlier loss to the Ravens at LA. This time it was the Chargers who played a gritty defense, shut down a very dangerous Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson looked very uncharacteristically butterfingers out there. He made 3 fumbles. The last fumble ended up winning the game for the Chargers at the end. Melvin Ingram recovered it. Phillip Rivers didn't have to play his greatest game, but he didn't turn over the ball. Melvin Gordon had a huge touchdown from 1 yard out. You really could call this opportunistic offense if you were the Chargers, because the Ravens really were not giving them much space to run the ball. Rivers had to make some very good throws in some critical spots, and you have to take advantage of a shortened field when you play the Ravens. Badgley hit 4 field goals early, which actually turned out to be huge. Justin Tucker ended up missing one from 50 yards. That became a pretty big miss. And in the end, the Chargers gutted out a tough 23-17 win, and they will move on to play New England in the AFC Divisional Playoff game. And then finally we had the Bears and the Eagles. The Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champions, going into Soldier Field to play Chicago. It was a very tight defensive game. You kind of look at maybe there were some missed opportunities in this game, and there really were. Nick Foles threw 2 interceptions early. The Bears only came away with 2 field goals. And boy, was that costly at the end. The Eagles got a huge touchdown. 4th and goal from the 2-yard line. Golden Tate picked up the touchdown. They didn't get the 2 points. And remember, that's huge now because it was 16-15. Bears came the other way. They were in field goal range. But Cody Parkey, after being iced, missed a 43-yard field goal that clanged off the upright, then off the crossbar, and ended up not going over the goalpost. Bears ended up losing that game. A tough loss by 1 point. Philly will move on to play the the Saints in the NFC Divisional Playoff game. Tell you what, I feel for Cody Parkey. I do. Not from Chicago, but I feel very, very much for him. And, you know, kind of makes you wish Robbie Gould was still the kicker for the Bears. It's interesting why they let him go a couple years ago. So, if you thought this first round was had all the drama and all the competitive action you could have imagined, just wait till we get to the divisional playoff, which is next week. Which is coming this Saturday and Sunday. We have some very, very, very tight games and very competitive games coming up. And I'm about to go right into my playoff prediction with all of you and kind of give you my take on who comes out of this. Tell you what, though, I do like these matchups for next week. I think we're going to have some very, very classic football games to come for next week. So, before I give you my actual playoff prediction, let's take just a quick look at what time each of these games will be. So first off, we're going to have the Colts and the Chiefs. That will be the first divisional playoff game. That will be at 4:35 on NBC in Arrowhead Stadium. And I'll tell you what, Arrowhead is a very loud place to play. Patrick Mahomes playing in his first playoff game. I'm curious to see how the Chiefs will fare against those Colts. Should be a very good game. The Dallas Cowboys will then travel to LA to take on the Rams. Saturday game, that'll be at 8:15 in the evening on Fox. So Dallas has the pleasure of 2 primetime games in a row. I think we're going to see a very, very fun game over there. We'll see who comes out of that, and I'll give it to you guys all on my prediction video. On my prediction in just a sec. Then the Sunday games, the Chargers will take on New England at 1 o'clock at Gillette Stadium on CBS. And then the Eagles will go to New Orleans to the Superdome to take on the Saints Sunday, 4:40 on Fox. So without further ado, let's go to the predictions for the divisional playoff. We're going to start with the NFC. Cowboys, LA Rams. The Cowboys really showed something this past week. Everybody was counting them out. Everybody thought they were going to lose to Russell Wilson. Everyone remembers the past history with Dallas, particularly from the days of Romo. This team couldn't get out of the first round. This team didn't know how to win big games. Dak Prescott won a huge game for this team with his own legs. Ezekiel Elliott had one of the biggest games of his playoff career. And I won't be surprised if Dallas could duplicate this a second time. On the other side, you have the Rams. Jared Goff, Todd Gurley. Jared Goff is already coming off one previous playoff appearance from last year. Did not play his best game. Now again, the Rams weren't quite the team they were now. But the Rams have struggled of late. They have lost 3 or 4 games. They also have not had a great defense this year. And very quietly, I think you're beginning to see how big Cooper Kupp's absence is on this Rams offense. Because now you're asking Todd Gurley to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Gerald Everett has to make big plays. Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks can only do so much. Cooper Kupp was that important glue for this offense. And I think this is going to come back and hurt the Rams big time. The Dallas Cowboys are going to do it again. They're going to go into LA and beat the Rams. It will be a high-scoring game. Dallas will win 25-18. It will be a Jared Goff interception that seals it for the Dallas Cowboys. Do not be surprised if Dallas and their stifling D can do to the Rams what they did to Russell Wilson. Definitely see where that ends up. Next game we go to, well, the second game of the NFC. And that game will be the Eagles and the Saints. Well, Philadelphia, you got very fortunate in your game last night. Cody Parkey missed what should have been a made 43-yard field goal. Had the double doink game now, as Chris Collinsworth's calling it. So the Eagles, you better be lucky you got out by the skin of your teeth. Because that very much easily could have been you guys going home and not repeating. Now the Eagles will go into New Orleans. This is a very tough place to play for any football team. I don't care who you are. The Superdome is one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. And you're going to have Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, Michael Thomas, Ted Ginn Jr. is back for this game, and you're going up against Sean Payton. Who do I think will come out of this? About to tell you now. Eagles, I know Nick Foles has been a very important part of this team. Was key in their Super Bowl victory a year ago. Do I see this Eagles team repeating like they did a year ago? I don't think I will see that happening again. As I said, Eagles were very fortunate to get by the Bears. That was a very low-scoring game, and Eagles right now, you should be very lucky the Bears didn't take further advantage of the 2 interceptions by Foles. But I'm sorry, Nick Foles, if you make interceptions like you did against the Bears, if you do that against the Saints aren't just going to come away with field goals. They're going to come away with 14 points on both of them. So I'm predicting New Orleans will beat the Eagles and stop the Eagles' dream at a second consecutive Super Bowl. Saints will win 33-23. Nick Foles will throw the one too many interception that will cost him the game. I think the Saints defense is going to shut down this mighty offense of the Eagles. And I see the Saints moving on to the NFC title game. So that completes the AFC side. Now, before I give you the AFC side, which I'm about to do right now, there's an interesting tidbit I want to share with you on the AFC. So the Chargers are going to play New England. The Chiefs are playing the Colts. An interesting stat came up yesterday in that game, before the ends of each game. None of these quarterbacks that are left in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes, Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers, none of them have ever beaten Tom Brady. So with the odds really stacked against any of these quarterbacks that could go on to play Brady, either in the title, either in the divisional playoff or in the AFC title game, you have to wonder who will beat Brady. And with that, let's go to the first of those 2 AFC divisional playoff games. And we're going to start with New England and the LA Chargers in Gillette Stadium. The Chargers really showcased something to the world yesterday. Again, like the Cowboys, Chargers were another team that always seemed to fail in the playoffs. They could never get out of the first round, maybe get even the second round. Their kickers always seemed to let them down. Well, this time the kicking let the Bears down, but it didn't let the Chargers down against the Ravens. And I think Badgley has now proven himself to be the kicker they've been looking for a long time. I'll tell you what, guys, that Charger defense is for real. They came in and shut down Lamar Jackson, made him very uncomfortable, and Rivers did enough of what he had to do. He didn't turn the ball over, and Melvin Gordon had to get the 1 touchdown, and they took advantage and won. I'm going very boldly on this prediction. I was 3 of 4 in my predictions last week. I think the Chargers are finally going to be the team that beat Brady. And Phillip Rivers, I'm telling you, has something that he wants to play for this year. He wants a Super Bowl. He's been waiting a long time to get one. He's been playing in Eli Manning's shadow for far too long. I predict finally the Chargers will get it done. They will go into Gillette and defeat New England. It will be a very, very close game, though. 25-21. My prediction, Sony Michel will fumble the football. Melvin Ingram will be the one that forces it out. And the Chargers will hold on to win 25-21. Phillip Rivers, I predict, will throw 2 touchdown passes. And his numbers will be very similar to what Phil Simms did in the Super Bowl. He'll be 22 of 25 on completions. Talk about going a little crazy with that. Now, finally, we go to the last game, Colts and the Chiefs. These 2 teams have played each other before in a playoff game about 6-7 years ago. It was a high-scoring game. I remember it. Andrew Luck, though, put on the performance of a lifetime and went on to score over 40 points against this Chiefs team. Very similar team to what they had a few years ago, by the way. Only difference now is you have Patrick Mahomes at the helm. Andrew Luck, though, still at the helm for the Colts. Now the Colts are going into Arrowhead, one of the loudest stadiums to ever play in the AFC side of the NFL. Arrowhead is going to be packed. This Chiefs team has probably had one of the best seasons it's had in a long time. And Andy Reid has been looking to win a Super Bowl and get all the way to the end for a long time as well. Patrick Mahomes is playing in his very first Super Bowl. But I'll tell you what, he was battle-tested against Brady. He has played some of the most elite quarterbacks in this game. He had an epic battle with Jared Goff in L.A. So if anything, if that's done nothing to motivate Mahomes, I'm not sure what will. But I'll tell you what, guys, this Colts team is dangerous. And I think I'm going to do it again. I think Andrew Luck and the Colts are going to beat Mahomes again. And you're going to see how big of a difference not having Kareem Hunt is going to be for KC. This is going to be another high-scoring game. The Chiefs do not have a great D. I know the Colts do. But Patrick Mahomes is not anywhere close to what Deshaun Watson was doing. Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback, and he's going to find a way to at least thread the needle on this very dangerous defense of the Colts. My prediction will be Colts will beat the Chiefs. As for a score, okay. 35-31. Indy will beat KC. And what will it come down to? Andrew Luck is going to pull a Joe Montana with a game-winning touchdown drive in the final seconds. Andrew Luck will find Eric Ebron in the end zone for a 2-yard throw. Andrew Luck, I predict, will throw for 379 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Patrick Mahomes will throw for 312 yards, will throw for 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Close game, but the Colts will find a way to get the final score and have the final say in this game. Colts will win 35-31, which will set up a pretty epic AFC and NFC title game. You're going to have Andrew Luck taking on Rivers. You're going to have Drew Brees taking on Dak Prescott. If you don't think we could have a better storyline for a AFC, NFC title game going toward the Super Bowl, wow, I'm not sure what will. So those are my predictions for next week going into the AFC title game. We'll see if I'm right again. Was 3 of 4 this past week. Could I make it a perfect 4 for 4 this coming week? Time will tell. NFC and AFC title games are not too far away, but the divisional playoff is coming up next. Good luck to all the teams, and we'll see you guys next time. Jonathan Perriente, The Education 10, saying bye for now.